All right. Hi. We're here. We're open.
Hi.
We're on. Say hello.
Hi, everybody.
Cool. Great. Thank you very much. Oh, Andrina made it work. Okay, good. Congratulations, Andrina, on helping get Laura qualified for the cruise. We're excited about that, aren't we? We qualified as well. So thank you for everybody in the team that helped get us. We actually booked our flights today too. And if you didn't know, guys, we're so excited that our company is the greatest company on the planet, and they're providing us with everybody that qualified with 2 nights at Orlando at the World Marriott Center for 2 nights, ground transportation from the airport, and then ground transportation from the convention center to the port, because we're going on a 4-day cruise to the Bahamas. Every room is a suite to a balcony, and Dr. Bickman and I think Dr. Fong, Jason Fong, and some of the other speakers. We have 9 speakers. Guys, if you'd like to have the opportunity of a lifetime for a 1-day exposure to the best metabolic scientists, authors in the world, just drop ticket in the chat and we'll make sure we get the information about the ticket for that day. So we're very excited about that. So welcome tonight. We're going to talk about every Sunday we get together and have a chat about Alzheimer's, how it's affected our families, and also stories of caregivers and hopes. And we have drop-in visitors that swing by from time to time. And so we always look forward to them. And we'll see who drops in today. So we're talking about metabolic health and Alzheimer's with identical twins. And this is Cheryl. And Cheryl's my buddy friend. And on the sad side, she had a sister, twin sister, identical twin sister, a mirror twin that died of Alzheimer's. We'll kind of talk about that in a little bit. We're going to talk about Alzheimer's from really what goes on with it and that. So let's kind of have a conversation there. So let's go to that. All right, add to stage. Here we go. So here we are. Boom. Can you kind of see? Oh, that's not very large, is it? Well, let's try making it look a little bit different. Try to make it a little bit larger so people can see the slides. Let's go like that. Will that make it better? How about this? There we go. That's better, isn't it? So really, this is kind of a wake-up call for everybody. Alzheimer's is growing, and it's coming down in younger ages. And we're really seeing it that some people would want to say it's genetic. And while there can be markers, APOE4 and that doesn't mean that it is inevitable. And so one of the things we want to give the guys is hope. But there are also signs and symptoms that lead into what we call diabetes type 3. So you can eat your way into this and you can eat your way out. And we have found a protocol that helps us reverse that type of thing too. And science is proving that it's improvable, it is reversible, it is preventable. But you need to be aware of it. And that's one of the reasons that we're having these conversations, because symptoms are beginning as early as age 45, and we'll talk about that. So early onset is a true issue. And cognitive decline starts long before it. Now, your brain has their habits, and it's powerful. And so neurogenesis continues into adulthood. Most people think your brain stops developing when you're 2 by 2. But no, the body replenishes itself. That's neurogenesis. You create new brain cells, okay? Neurogenesis is what that is. But lifestyle can stimulate brain repair the same way lifestyle can contribute to rusting it out, right? I mean, from how many people that you know in your world that became, unfortunately, alcoholics to their mental decay and demise? Just an example. So you can toxify yourself into this as well as purify your way out of it. So the hypothalamus is really the center where all this kinds of things happen. And your mind, you're not losing it. You need to just rebuild it. So what are some of the things we can do? Lifestyle levers that can reverse the decline. Well, nutrition, right? Nutrition is key. Why? Because you can do anti-inflammatory and a Mediterranean style. Now, the one thing that a lot of research is showing is that people and the studies are doing, while they're giving them lifestyle changes in terms of activity, walking is one, socializing is another, hydration is another, sleep is another, lack of stress, but they're talking about diet. In other words, what you put in, the fuel you put in. And the thing about that is, it's amazing. Well, people argue about whether you should have this kind of pea or that kind of pea or this type of meat or that type of meat. Nobody at all argues that you should not have ultra-processed foods. No one says or even argues against sodas and juices and things like that. Nobody argues against that kind of a thing. And so where we have that going on, that's the nutrition. No one argues about the bad stuff. So they only argue about the little inside of things. Then there's Jennifer. And then movement. So once you eat, get up and move around a little bit. All right, get it going. You don't have to walk crazy. You don't have to go out, be a miler. You don't have to do things for time. You don't even have to do the new Japanese style, which was the old German style. And the old German style we called fartlek. That means you go fast, slow, slow, go fast, slow, slow. Well, the Japanese now, Japanese style is the new fashion. And it's a variation of fartlek. In other words, you go fast, you go slow, you tease your body a little bit. And that's the same thing with people doing fasting. Some people say, I'm going to do it's 18-6 and this, the other. Change it up. Changing it up helps to trick the body. It doesn't get it into a steady, boring motion. Sleep. That's one of my worst ones, admittedly. I get yelled at that all the time about sleep. Yes, I know I do. I need to get more sleep. I really am. But, that's the one thing I've got to work on. That's one of my weaknesses. Stress, doing the breathing and that type of thing, meditating. So healing is something we can do. And we're going to be working on designing more and more of that to get it to you. And Jennifer's joining us. So let's say hello to Jennifer.
Hello, everybody.
And Jennifer is an amazing young lady. Is that a new tattoo, or I have not seen you without sleeves for a while?
No, this is a tattoo that represents, I have 4 butterflies on here. It represents my 2 biological parents and my 2 adoptive parents.
Okay. I hadn't seen that, so I guess I hadn't seen your arm before.
Well, if you want to look at my before and after, my arm is looking a little bit more non-inflammatory.
There you go. That's probably it. It was probably hidden before, right?
You couldn't see it before because my arm was so large.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now pretty soon it's going to go all the way around your back and everything, right? It's going to.
Well, just a little teaser. I've got one back there too.
Oh my gosh. Okay. All right. Enough of that. All right. Let's move on, shall we?
We shall.
So we're going to be talking about, in our topic here, guys, we're going to be looking at and talking about Alzheimer's. And we're going to really look at it from a standpoint of twins, okay? And we're going to look at it from this standpoint about stories of care and love and hope. And we're going to bring a lot of science in. We're doing these every Sunday now. And we're working on getting a larger audience. So while you guys are watching, please feel free to share this, because this is information that once it hits you, you're crushed. You have no idea where to go, what to turn into. Hey, my goodness gracious, we have another special guest that's arrived. And this is Andrea. Oh my gosh, it's great to see Andrea. Look at her. And this is the one thing I do know is that these 3 girls are headed for bed as quick as they're getting off of here.
We are. I've already got my PJ pajamas on, my bottom.
Oh, you're
I
ahead
have
of
my
me.
bottoms on.
Me too. This George guy, he's just got the energy of the Energizer Bunny. I just don't
Hmm.
know.
Who, me?
Yeah, you.
Well, actually, today I could not find him. I thought, where the heck is he? He was on the deck. I'm looking all over. I finally call him. I said, where are you at? I'm down the basement taking a nap.
That's the key.
Honest, that's the
Oh,
first. That's the first. I spent yesterday. I went 5 hours, 10 hours driving to go see my two of my grandkids play. So
yeah.
I spent 10 hours yesterday driving to watch them play, and I loved every second of it and things. So yeah, I did succumb to about a 45-minute nap this afternoon. So I
Good for
admit it.
you.
Okay,
Good for you. Yep.
got to do it. So anyway.
Yeah.
So tell you what, while we're just on here, let's just, Andrea, I'm gonna let you. You're East Coast. I'm gonna let you head to bed here in a second. But tell us a little bit about kind of just paint a picture of the types of care you've had the opportunity to give, and what kind of resource or hope can you give others that may be looking at the same thing.
Well, thank you, George and Cheryl and Jennifer, for being on and for sharing this, because I think it's so important. I think it's something that a lot of times we don't understand, or maybe we just take for granted that, this care is provided, or when we get into the struggle of it, we feel like we're all alone. And I think that's hard. I know for us, with caring for my husband's family, he was an only child. So that, it fell on us, and we were so thankful that we could, but it was it can be a lot. And, for us, I lived with them for 6 months. My husband was there for 4. It was after my mother-in-law fell and broke her hip. And, when you're elderly and that happens, people got to step in to help. So, anyway, James came home, turned our our 3-car garage into a 3-bedroom handicap home underneath our basement. So they lived with us for like 3 years. And, so we went through a lot of ups and downs with just health issues, the Alzheimer's, the dementia. Yeah. And then we had a Down syndrome uncle also that we cared for at the same time. So, one, I love the resources. We did have hospice coming in. So if that's something that you need, reach out, find support. Meals on Wheels is also another great resources. So get with your community advocates, because you are literally being an advocate for their health. You're speaking out for them when they can't. So I found it helpful to have, some of that support, people that we could talk to, people that we could bounce ideas off, people that were actually coming in and monitoring the situations, on a regular basis. That was a huge help for us. It saved us a lot of time also with ER visits, things like that, especially with my father-in-law who had COPD. If we'd have been at the ER constantly, and we were for a while, and that's tough, and then things. Anyway, so look for your resources. What resources do you have? And Georgia, I'm sure you guys have a lot of information on that. Check your different states. And then take time for yourself too, because they have, and I want to look up some of the stats on this. As a caregiver, a lot of times the caregiver struggles with their health, and there's stats about it that where they even pass away before the person that they're caring for does. So just know that you have got to care for yourself. It's that put your own oxygen mask on. And we weren't always good about that. And that was tough. And we paid the price for some of that. So just it's a privilege and an honor, I think, to be able to step in and care for your loved ones and support them. It's important. And, I'm thankful now that my parents are close. They're 10 minutes away, and we're able to step in and help and be there and support as people age. but I think, George, too, I think a key for us is let's age as well as we possibly can. And that's why we're encouraging people, hey, do everything you can to leave that legacy of health to your children and your children's children, because it matters.
Absolutely. Great. Thank you. So anything else parting that? I mean, taking care of yourself. And I'm sitting here with I'm sitting with three lovely women. And I know that each one of you is giving, loving, and caring. And you hit it on the head, is that you guys will do for others first.
Mhm.
And you need to take care of yourself first, because the airlines have the best rule in the place. They say in the unlikely events of loss of cabin pressure, a mask will fall down, and put it over your mouth and nose first. Because we don't want to hear you scream. No, that's not what they say. But if you need to, and then you figure out who else you want to say. So if you can't, you've got to save you first. Because if you ain't here, what am we going to do without
And
you?
that's hard. Yeah, I mean, that's hard, and sometimes, I know as a mom of 5, I was raising 5 youngins, and that was a struggle even as a mom. I would find myself in the bathroom, okay, I just have to have 5 minutes. Or we would have Burger King play dates. I would call up a friend and say, I've got to get out of this house. I'm going to lose my mind. And it might just be for the caregiver. You need to go to Walmart and have somebody come in. You just need to hire somebody in for an hour to say, I just need to go to Walmart, or I just need to go sit outside for 10-15 minutes and just breathe. I just need a little bit of a space. We had monitors, baby monitors all around the house so we could hear everything. We had cameras at one point. So we knew if they got out of the hospital bed, if we were sleeping, we were upstairs, they were in our living room, we knew, we could hear everything. So invest in those tools, because that can also give you back just a little bit of space to kind of take that deep breath, hopefully get some rest, get some help, get some support, because we can't do this alone. You need support. So find that support system, because it does matter, and you've got to take care of yourself or you will. My husband had a widowmaker heart attack during all this, and there was at one point I looked at him and I'm like, I'm going to lose all of you. And that's the way I felt. We were in the midst of some crazy stuff at that time. And I had to make a decision and say, okay, we all have to get on the same playing field. We can't have the crazy stress. We've all got to, and we've got to figure out some things. So it's not easy. It's so worth it. So thankful that we were able to do that. But you've got to look out for yourself too, and put a plan in place, so
Appreciate you coming on tonight. I'll see you in the morning, not a few hours from now.
yes, George,
And,
get some rest. Cheryl,
yeah.
make him get some rest, please.
I just go to bed. He does what he does.
I know. Jennifer, it's so good to see you too.
Good to
So,
see you too.
I'll see you in the morning. Thank you.
all right,
Bye.
night, guys.
All right. Yeah, that's Andrea, and she's great. And we're blessed to have her on our team, be on her team, be working with them. And I know you, Jennifer, you got to get to bed too. And I don't know what your plan is, but if you want to, I'm just going to talk to you like that. If you want to go, let Cheryl go, and we'll tell her story a little bit and get her out of here and get her to bed. Give the cougar a chance to get to bed first. And then we can chat. And then if you want to go do a live right after this, a Facebook Live or something like that, we can go do that for 20 or 30 minutes. Or unless you're ready to go to bed, then I'll let you all go to bed, and I'll just kind of monkey around on my own. But the one thing we do know is that we want to be able to help make a difference. We want to be able to share information, give people ideas of hope and reality. Because with Cheryl's story, Cheryl has a real story of Alzheimer's and of their sister, identical twin sister, Amir, and even her parents got older in almost to the 100 mark. and mom, the whole idea of isolation that they did to us a few years ago, solitary confinement, if you will, crushes it. Because one of the things that we see in symptoms, and if this is you or if you know someone that's starting to isolate themselves, withdraw from social settings, in that 4 years or whatever that nightmare was that they put us through, they put people into single confinement. They put them into solitary confinement, the same thing you would do to prisoners of war, the same thing you would do to people incarcerated. And the same effect, the absolute same effect happened. How did they think anything was going to come good of it? None. So therein lies that. And with Jennifer's story, Jennifer has a grandmother and now lives with her parents with deteriorating health situations. Mm-hmm. And then myself, my mom is 96 and we have her in a situation of care, but differently. So Cheryl, I'm just going to let you chat a little bit about your sister, your experience, and what you hope people will learn from your lesson. And I'm going to send you to bed.
I wish somebody would send me to bed.
For you. You can just chat.
Well, you need to show them a picture.
Okay,
of us.
I'll show them pictures. Here we go.
Well, not all. Just show them.
Okay, all right. Hang on here. I'll get them.
Show everybody her favorite picture.
Okay.
Oh no.
That one?
No,
that's one of my favorite ones.
Well, I like that one.
Okay, we'll get over here.
Get out of there.
That one we have to blow by. I think I'm going to be forced to take that one out of the deck. But here we go. There you go.
Okay, this is my twin. She's the one on the top with her arms around me. Her name's Sharon. I'm an hour older. We were actually mirror twins. We would do things opposite each other. She started out left-handed, but in those days, they would switch because they didn't think left-handed was the thing to be because of writing and all that stuff. So actually, the teachers would do it if you didn't do it before you got to school. So my sister was actually left-handed to start with, but we would do things like when she fed her babies, I would lay the baby on my left and feed her with my right. And she was just the opposite of that. And it's just because of that. And we were mirror twins. And a lot of times with mirror twins, different, like, what did I say? Some things will be on the right side of your body and things for her might have been on the left side. But we were identical. My dad couldn't even tell us apart unless we had our kids or husbands. My mom always could. You couldn't fool my mom. Our kids as babies, I remember picking up Sharon's little girl right after she came home from the hospital. She was kind of fussy. I picked her up and she just wouldn't settle down. The minute I gave her to my sister, she settled down. She knew which one was her mom. My kids could always tell us apart from the time they were little. They always knew. She was diagnosed with early onset Alzheimer's when she was 54 years old. She passed when she was 61. It was the biggest shock ever. At first, she and her husband were building a house. And they had built many houses before this, and she would always be the general contractor and the one that made sure that everything was ordered on time. And she was forgetting things like that. A lot of that, I didn't notice things they did because I didn't live with her. Her daughter and her husband noticed things like that. And then I remember going to Florida, and she and I and her daughter were walking the beach, and she kept lagging behind. And I thought, that's really unusual for her. And she just She acted like she didn't have any self-confidence at all anymore. In fact, the doctors, when her husband first took her to the doctor because he knew things weren't right. In fact, the school she worked she worked at a junior high in the guidance office as a secretary. And the principal one day called her husband and said, there's something wrong with Sharon. She's upset that the kids are upsetting her, and she loved those kids. She never, she loved being around those kids. And he said, there's just something, she just can't seem to do her job. So her husband took her to the doctor, and the first thing they diagnosed her with was depression. And that's kind of normal. But they put her on antidepressants that wasn't helping. And finally, her husband said to the doctor, how about if we go to Mayo Clinic? He said, I think it's a good idea. So that's where she was diagnosed. She was diagnosed, they always say, dementia with the probability of Alzheimer's, because they really can't say, yes, it's true Alzheimer's until they do an autopsy after death. And her brain actually went to Harvard, and we got the results back, and her brain was very atrophied, a lot of gray matter. It was true Alzheimer's. I always thought, I wish we could do a study on me, to compare. But, at Mayo Clinic, they asked how our lives would have been, were different, and they really weren't that much different at all. Sharon was a great cook.
And you're a baker.
Well, I could cook. I just don't now that I have you.
Okay, fine.
Why should I?
You're still a great baker.
When I bake, I don't bake much anymore.
No.
Because we don't need it.
Yeah.
So anyway, yeah, that was the biggest shock of my life. I never, ever thought in a million years. She spent her husband took very good care of her, but it came to the point where she was getting kind of violent streaks, and that's normal too. So he put her in a nursing home, and that's where she lived for the last year of her life. A lot of people don't realize that Alzheimer's is a killing disease. Well, it is. They forget how to swallow. They forget how to do anything. She died in January, and that Christmas, right before that, she died January 6th. Christmas before that, her daughter and I, they were having a Christmas program at the nursing home. Her daughter and I wheeled her down. By that time, she was in one of those reclining wheelchairs. She just laid there. She did not have a clue what was going on. We were feeding her. Last time I fed her was on New Year's Day. And she was choking, she was gagging, even though her food was puree, but they forget how to swallow. And they even thickened like water, and everything she drank by mouth, it was thickened. But she was gagging, and I thought, I'm not doing this. I'm not gonna watch her aspirate, which they can. And so I thought, I can't do this. So I went back that was on a Monday. I went back on Wednesday, and I walked in the room, and the hospice, they had hospice come in the nursing home for her. And I said to the hospice nurse, was just putting her back in bed. And I said to the hospice nurse, I said, there's something wrong. She's not breathing right. And they called the nursing home nurse and took her vitals. She said, you better call family. So I did. That was on a Wednesday. And her daughter and I stayed around the clock with her. I slept in her bed with her. And I knew the day she was going to die, just that closeness of twins, I knew. And she died on Saturday, just like I had thought. They take, like Andrea was saying, they do take a lot of care, and you have to watch them constantly. Her husband would set her on the front porch if they had some acreage and they had horses, and he would sit her on the front porch if he went out on the mower. And they had a blue heeler dog. If Sharon got up and walked in the house, for some reason that dog knew, he would run around and go get her husband. And it was just amazing because animals know, they can feel. Anyway, it's a long journey. Although it was, by the time she was diagnosed, it was 5 years. And her husband dealt with horses. So my husband and I had a business which I worked in. So during that time, I left the business for a while, and she would come to my house, or I would go out there when he had to go sell horses. So I stayed with her, but it is hard. They have to be watched constantly. Sharon would sit out on the deck sometimes and cry. And it's just a horrible, horrible disease. Someone asked me once, aren't you, and it used to make me mad, aren't you afraid you're going to get it? And I said, well, yes, but if there was a test to find out if I was going to, I wouldn't take it, because I know what happens. I've seen it, and I don't want to live in fear the rest of my life. Sharon was always very, very particular. She got so she couldn't cook. Me and my daughter and her daughter, we get together in her kitchen, because she had a huge kitchen, and take our own ingredients and all make Christmas cookies. We'd make different kinds. The last time she did it, I remember she couldn't remember if she put stuff in, so she'd dump it out. And then she'd try again, and she just quit. And so we did that, I think, the year after that happened, and we just gradually quit doing it because Sharon wasn't capable. And she would walk up to the mirror sometimes and just pound on it, and she would look in the mirror and she'd start crying. And I think deep down inside, this was when she first went to the nursing home. Deep down inside, she knew she shouldn't look like the way she did. We eventually had to cover all the mirrors, and when she got her hair cut at the nursing home, I would be in there with her, and we'd always turn her. I told the gal that was cutting her hair, I said, turn her away from the mirror, and she did. But any little thing, like one day I took her outside. It was a nice day. Took her outside from the nursing home, and we just walked around the circular drive. We sat down on a bench, and she just kept looking around like this. And she was shaking, and I said, do you want to go back inside? And she shook her head, yes. But little things, they had a bunch of birds in the entryway of the nursing home. And we would walk down and see, because they're in a locked unit. The Alzheimer's unit was a locked unit. So sometimes I would take her out of that, and we would go look at the birds, and she loved things like that. And that was when she was first in there. But she loved that. Just the little things like that, And I would put her makeup on her for, like, I remember one Thanksgiving night, we had it out at their house, but her husband always did the cooking. And I went out early to put her makeup on. It made her so happy. And when she died, she had gotten very heavy. She would actually steal cookies off other people's table when she first got there. And so she got very heavy. She did not look like my sister. We didn't even look alike at all. And when she died, she transformed. I can't explain it. After she died, my daughter came and we were standing out in the hall talking, and I looked in the room at her and she was laying on her back and she was just glowing. There was a glow about her, just amazing. And so after she was made up and everything, when they showed her, and oh my God, I got my sister back. She looked the same as I knew her, although her hair wasn't blonde, like we always kept it. But she just looked so beautiful. I thought, oh my God, I have my sister back. But it's a horrible disease. There's a lot of care. But I don't regret it either. I lost half of my whole the day she died.
No, and you really did. You did great. You did great. You did great. So what are you doing for yourself nowadays?
Okay, I'm on the protocol. This twice a day. And there's a fiber drink. I just want to keep my brain healthy, and if that helps, I've had another good thing happen since I started it. I had a hysterectomy in 2016, and it was just preventative. It was not cancerous or anything, but preventative. And ever since then, I'd had a PAPS test every 6 months, and they still hadn't been turning out right. And the doctor was just really stumped. And so I had one in probably June, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And they called me and they said it was clear. And I hadn't had one since before my hysterectomy, after my hysterectomy. So I'm really anxious for the next 6 months to see, if hopefully it's the same.
Yeah, because you're only on the protocol for 90 days.
Right.
And it was the first clean one in 9 years.
Yeah.
Since we know each other.
Yeah. And I do sleep better when I'm on this, since I've been on this too. I noticed that.
Yeah.
And he says I don't snore. He used to get up and go in the living room.
Because of her, not me.
I said, I don't snore. Well, I knew I was snoring if he was out in the living room. So.
All right. Well, we're going to let you go. Anything else you want to tell people about Alzheimer's that may be facing it or concerned about their own care?
You do need to get help. Get a relief. And I know with her husband, that was his relief, getting out of the house maybe for a day or 2 days, and he could sell his horses because he was tied down too. And you need to take care of yourself, because if you can't take care of yourself, you're not going to be able to take care of them, because they do need a lot of care.
Absolutely. Well, you did good, girl. You did good. I'm going to let you go to sleep.
Okay.
You're dismissed.
See you, Jennifer.
Bye, Cheryl.
All right. I'll see you a bit.
Okay.
And I'm back on. Yeah, it's me. Wow. What a night. Thank you, dear. That was good. You're healing. You're doing good. That's tough.
I would say that through the process of us having these chats and being so vulnerable with the outside world, that I can see Cheryl's progress in healing.
Yeah.
I can see the pain when she talks about it. I can see the hurt and the what if I knew back then, the same things that I talk about. But I'm so unbelievably proud of her.
Yeah. It is something, isn't it? But
it is something.
and the thing that one of the things that we talk about, and we're working on getting a little better platform so we can bring in some other experts and some videos explaining this, because we want to be able to provide more education, more value. But the human side, you can't take away the human factors and emotion, because this is, as much as we could get into the science of it, as much as we could get into the minutiae of it, it's relationship. It's watching a very slow, painful for everyone experience. And it is, in a large part anymore, preventable if we intercede early enough. And even when we do intercede, we can help stave it off a little bit. We could maybe reverse it. We can forestall it, if you will. Or you can just ignore it and let it accelerate and exacerbate itself. But we already, if you think about this very fact, that the largest amounts of building going on in any community, number one, is storage sheds for people's crap. Because you go buy crap, you got to have a place to put your crap. So you go store this crap that you're never going to see or use again. And you pay somebody else to store that crap that you bought that you're not going to use again. Well, I'm going to use it. I'm going to have a great bull crap a hopper. Stop buying it. You're storing it. You're wasting money and time because you're never going to go there. You probably forgot the lock. You forgot the key. You forgot the combination. But the second unfortunate thing, the second other building that most building is they're building storage sheds for you. They're building storage facilities. They're planning on you. They're planning on you continuing to eat your way, drink your way, and take medications until they get you and you're there. And then you know what? They're going to keep giving you more medications. They're going to keep giving you more food. They keep you there until, okay, the insurance monies are going to win. The insurance companies win. The health companies win. The investors in these win. You lose. It's a plan. And the people selling you the food that's getting you there, they win every day. So one of the things that we want to help people, one, be aware that there are changes you can make. They're lifestyle and dietary. Pretty simple, lifestyle and dietary, that you have complete control over. You all unplugged there, dear? Okay.
I unplugged it.
Okay, she's unplugged it, so I don't have to unplug that one. Okay, good. But the thing is that it's there. You have control. Everybody that hears or watches this has control. Even if you have the double chromosomes, ABO-POE4 on both, and you can load it up, great. It's not inevitable. And even if it was inevitable, it's not immediately inevitable. It's down the street and the things you can do that are not pharmaceutical. Think about this. Pharmaceuticals do not cure skedaddle or Skittles, for that matter. I mean, pharmaceuticals will take care of you if you have the drip, drip, drip of gonorrhea. That will take care of you if you have syphilis. But a metabolic issue, meaning an energy utilization, how we convert energy, that's metabolism. A metabolic conversion is not cured with any pharmaceutical. They're not. They are wonderful for profit for the prescribers, the manufacturers, the insurance companies, the health companies. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful profit machines that do not cure you. Now, symptom can be flattened out, maybe muted, but the cause is still there. the cause is still there. And if it's a metabolic, that means energy. And where's our energy come from? Our energy comes from food, stuff you eat and drink. Things that go down the gullet are going to create some kind of chaos. They don't just go in and come out. That's not how the system works. It wasn't ever designed to be that way. It's been designed to heal itself and naturally heal itself, and using food to help heal itself. Let medicine be thy food. Isn't that the Hippocratic part of the Hippocratic oath, the part of the Hippocratic statement? So that's a whole idea of one of the things that we're passionate about. And one of the things we talk about a lot. Now, Jennifer is, I'm going to let Jennifer give some of her story. I said a little bit about it, but Jennifer, I'm going to, I'll see what I can find here real quick. Pictures. See if we can't find Grandma Helen here. Let me see if I can't find her.
If not, I have her on standby right next to me.
Do you?
I do.
All right, you can show us. I'll tell you what. Why don't you just show us Grandma Helen there?
Okay.
Let's go like that. Let's do that.
Give me just a second. I put it on my little necklace that I'm going to use when I do my walk in November.
Oh, perfect.
So, and you never know the weather. So she's inside of a Ziploc. Her picture's inside of a Ziploc bag.
Love it. I love it.
So this is my grandma.
There we go. Grandma Helen.
Yes, this is Grandma Helen.
Doesn't she? She looks like everybody's grandma to me. I mean, it's just, she looks like a universal grandma to me.
Yes. Down to the glasses, down to the baking of the goodies, the full meals. There was nobody sitting in front of TVs during dinner time. There were no cell phones. There was nobody on the phone. You don't answer the phone. So all of the things that have passed in life that we're all still trying to get back to, my grandmother was fully on board all of the time. Even when she'd come into our home. Grandma's rules took precedence over my mother's. My grandmother sadly died of Alzheimer's. She did live with my grandfather, who is older than her and did have health issues as well. My grandmother became forgetful. She was a wanderer. It's a scary thing when you're a teenager and you find out your grandma wandered, and you're like, well, where did she wander to? And they don't know because everybody's looking for her. Grandma.
What community area was this in, Jennifer? I've never asked. What community?
She lived in a condo, in a humongous condo complex on the Intercoastal in Deerfield Beach, Florida. But anytime she would leave, she'd go out the door and she'd end up either at the other side of the complex or she'd just keep walking. And when it was just my grandfather there, he may not have noticed right away that she had walked away. And then it was him calling my uncle, who also lived in Florida, and saying, okay, where would she go? Is there a store? Which there weren't a lot of stores right at that time. And there was a lot of neighborhood, and not always maybe the best place for somebody of that age to be wandering by themselves. And sadly she ended up being injured, was put into a nursing facility. And, at that point, your rights are taken away. If your loved one at home isn't able to care for you, and in this case, he couldn't keep track of her. There weren't a lot of things in place like alarms on doors, alarms on windows, anything to notify you that there was movement. So she ended up going into a facility. And since I was out of state and I would come during holiday seasons, one of the last few times I saw my grandmother, she suffered from really debilitating migraines most of her life. And as we both know now, that's a form of insulin resistance. And she would just sit in her wheelchair with her head down, just rocking like this. And, you know, the noise inside of a facility that doesn't have carpet, because you're in a locked wing, because you're a wanderer, can be exasperated, and you're in constant pain all the time. Like Cheryl was sharing with her sister, my grandmother became violent, to the point where, you know, she's this tiny little woman in a wheelchair trying to push my 6-foot-tall uncle out the window, calling him a terrorist. During that time as well, she thought that I was her daughter, Karen, and my father, David, was her husband, Lawrence. So anytime you'd have a conversation with her, it was always reverting back to childhood. Nothing of the last 20 years. It was something way before then. You know, sadly.
And some of those were with crystal clear clarity.
Oh, descriptive. The smells she had, if it was sunny, if it was misting, if there was a cloud. I mean, very, very descriptive. But even looking at my mother, Karen, and looking at me, she could not discern who this other lady was because I was Karen. And it, you know, as a teenager, that's very hard to, no, Grandma, it's me. Well, Karen, I know it's you. Okay. What is happening? And then my current situation, you know, my mom has mild cognitive decline. My father has been put on 2 Alzheimer's meds by his primary doctor, and we see a neurologist at the end of the month. And like Andrea was saying, you know, I was thinking about my own personal situation and how all of you have been saying the caregiver needs to make sure they take care of themselves. And as I think back along this 2-year, almost 3-year journey I've been on, I would say I have felt the most stable in the last 4 months. With, you know, I'm kind of the villain in the family at this moment. Some of my family members don't agree with me being here. But I have found that for myself, being on this protocol has kind of relieved some of the stress for me. The anxiety isn't high. The stress isn't high. Sure, I have moments. Okay. Everybody does. The protocol is not going to fix my external life problems, you know, but I'm taking care of myself. And it's been a game changer for me personally.
Yeah, so. I can attest to that. The change in you that I have observed since we first met, 60 days ago or whatever it was in Miami. And just so people understand, you know, like I'm a driver, literally. So I drove from Illinois to Miami, pretty much straight through. So, and that's when I met this young lady, and with basically no sleep, and we were at this wonderful event with a company that we work with, and it was a joy to meet her, but to have seen the transformation in you physically, to see and feel the transformation that you've gone through mentally. And to see the transformation that you've already occurred, in the last month and a half, we've been meeting on Sundays and sometimes Thursdays. It's really, really, really true. It's wonderful, and I'm so excited for you. And I just saw that new bio sheet that you updated, and you put Susan on there too. I think that was special. That's such a sign of respect. That's exactly who I know you are. And so proud of you every day. And we get to work with each other. And now you're working with Mom and Dad. Now Dad I thought he has an appointment like on a Thursday, or he hasn't had that appointment. That's coming up now at the end of the month.
Yes, it's coming at the end of the month. I'm curious, and I'm trying to be more informative with the conversations I have, especially with my mom. I did allow Dad for a couple weeks to administer her eye drops that she needs to have every day, and there is quite a few. We're talking 13, and we had gone through one particular eye drop a little quicker than we should have. And I had said, okay, can you tell me what this one is? And I pointed to, the chart, and I said, do you know what this one looks like? He was grabbing the wrong one. So, I called the doctor, we got that settled. I took that responsibility back, but I'm bouncing it off my mom because there's a lot of denial going on, either with themselves, within themselves, and then with each other, and then with everybody else.
Sure.
The response is always, I'm fine. I'm good. And we had another situation the other day when I had to call an ambulance because my mom's blood pressure dropped deadly low. And they both kind of looked at me and said, well, no, we'll just get her to the car. No, I called, an urgent care. I talked to a nurse, and I'm sitting right there as they're both negotiating about getting in the car. And I said, ma'am, could you repeat that? Put it on speaker, because I want you to be in the moment with me to understand that I'm calling a professional. This isn't me controlling your life. This isn't me trying to dictate how you handle yourself. And I'm finding doing things like that, or do you want me to call your doctor? Let's put her on speakerphone. Let's talk to her. So we're doing it as a team rather than it's me and you think I'm coming to get you.
Yeah.
So I'm finding small little things are helping, and they're not as stressful and and I don't get nervous in the moment. It's okay. Let's slow down. Let's, for this instance, let's take the blood pressure again. We've talked to the nurse. This is what the nurse says. I'm on the phone with 911 now. Now, did I get resistance? Of course I did. Nobody wants the ambulance and the fire truck to show up in front of your house in a gated community when nosy Nellies are all coming outside.
Right.
So, which I can appreciate. But I also know that those that did come outside and those that messaged my phone see me in the neighborhood, and they ask, and they're, they want to be a part of.
Right.
So
it's supportive, and that I'm just talking to you now. That should help validate you and your feeling about you, that you're being validated by third, fourth, fifth, seventh parties, if you will. So I applaud you. I congratulate you doing exactly. You're not bossing them. You're letting them be engaged in it. But at the end of the line, someone has to be the parent. And now the authorities are already said, this is what you need to do.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't care. And I care. When we say I don't care, and we do care about you, that's why we're doing the about that we're doing.
Right.
But your desire to not be transported at this point in time, you've given that control up, because I'm not going to watch you die. I'm not going to watch you die on my watch.
Mm-hmm.
And therein lies part of that. I get that, because I've gotten from my mom. Even my mom's 96, and sometimes people will ask me, and there's 10 of us. Okay, there's 10 of us, and every last one of us will give every and anything of our lives for her. But sometimes it's like, okay, I don't want to go. I don't want to. Good. And it's I don't. And what about George? What do you think about George? Well, I don't like it, but I'll do what he says. And so we in our network, and one of our brothers is a doc, and so we can always fall back. Hey, he said, so now we got another one of us, or 2 or 3 of us, we all talk, and on a half a second you do a split, on a text, and it's like everybody says you're going, everybody says you're going,
Right.
and and off she goes, and then when she's there, when Mama's been in the hospital, it's a small town hospital. I mean, you can't imagine. You live in communities with more people than this town has, but has a facility and great facilities and things. But then once you're there, she's in the hospital, and then a lot of times she doesn't want to come home. Okay, fine.
That's because there's different people caring for her.
Yeah, and as long as we don't,
that's her vacation without wanting to be there.
Exactly, and as long as we don't go through the sundown, through the sundown thing, which is, guys,
Right.
The sundown thing is total traumatic, because the individual, the patient, your parent, whoever it is, your loved one, doesn't know where they're at. They don't want to be there. Their body and mind is going to fight tooth and nail to leave. Things will be flying, being thrown, fists, kicks, tosses. I mean, it more than violent. And you're just like, where did this come from this very normal, docile person? Like, and so yeah, that's real. And some hospitals, in that you cannot get them controlled, you're going to get kicked out. They're going to send you out. They don't want you there. Now we're going to go. And so this is real issues that people really can go through. But the whole thing is that when they get like that, then maintaining that you're an adult, you are not trying to hurt them. You would do nothing to hurt or harm them. And you just have to stick by your gun. You have to stick by the thing. If your child was standing over the edge of a lion pit, are you just going to let him stand there, or are you going to grab his ass and pull him back? You're not going, oh, Jimmy, don't go. I don't think you should be on there. I think you should come. No, you grab her, but you sit him down. Now you have a conversation. Right? You just like, oh, no panic. Well, no, there's a point. And that's the thing that you need to learn. And Deborah, one of the things that you've already experienced is that sometimes the Monday quarterbacks, the people that are not are not at the game, aren't watching the game, are going to tell you how you should have played that play. You shouldn't have done a running. You should have punted. You should have passed. Okay, next time you be here, Jackson. The answer is like, no, it doesn't work that way. And we don't get a timeout. We don't get a timeout. Let's go back to our corners and figure this out, because when it's live, it's live. And we got to figure it out now, don't we?
Mm-hmm.
And we're dealing with people's emotions. We're dealing with their psychics. And sometimes, quite frankly, hey, puppy, sometimes, isn't it true that they're like junior high girls who you see at 8 in the morning is not the same person you see at 10, is not the same person you see at noon. They've totally flipped by 3 in the afternoon. Now it's time for the sandwiches at 6. And then by the time they're ready to have their ice cream at 8 or 9 before they go to bed, they've switched again. They flip and flop. Their mental stages go all over the board. And if they watch something stimulating on the TV or music, whatever, they can be tripped and triggered into an entirely different tirade, especially if it's a political thing. If it's some type of divisive thing where it's red or blue or green or black, it doesn't really matter. But if they've got an emotional tie to something, they are stuck, and you ain't getting them off of that one. So
that is true.
If you can get them to like the um, the home channel where they're doing reconstruction of homes, buying son of homes. That's a good channel. You get them something, get them off of the political stuff, because that will deteriorate them, aggravate them, stress them out, and get them so stuck. Get them to the TCM, the old movies. Get them to James Cagney and Fred Astaire and Ginger Rogers and Tony Stark, and get them to some of the old movies. Get them some John Wayne. Get them to Marlon. Get them some nice, cool things that they know. You get them to the Big Valley. Get them to Bonanza. Car 54 Art You with a little humor. You get those things moving. Those are all good possibilities. Hey, puppy. So what else is going on, Jennifer?
Other than that, it's been somewhat of a quiet week. I know that there is a friend of mine who has some concerns about her mom. And through our talk, we've spoken, and it's a lot to take in, and a lot of emotion surrounding when you see a change in your loved one. I obviously know it all too well, and I didn't live with them for quite a long time, and it's a family situation. I have a sibling. I know that my friend has siblings, and it's not one person noticing. It's a multitude of people, and being able to be okay with your feelings at the time, whatever they may be. For me, it was grief and loss, and my mind just went rolling, and to just remember that you're not alone, that sadly a lot of people have these types of situations, and like Cheryl said, I'm on the protocol too, to make sure that I don't go down that path. My daughter and I joke about it a lot, and she's like, well, when it's time for you to go to the home, I'll let you live above my garage. Okay, well, I have no intention in going to a home, so I'm going to keep doing this protocol, and I'm going to keep my brain, and I'm going to keep it functioning well.
Perfect.
And you and I can talk about this when, I'm 70, 80, 90 years old, and you're like, Mom, I thought you'd declined by now. Yeah, not happening.
Exactly. I mean, no, not happening. I'm at 73. I have no.
You're not slowing down.
No.
You're
not
ramping
happening.
up.
Not happening. All right. Well, Jennifer, I'll tell you what. I'll talk to you tomorrow morning. I'll let you go. Get to bed. Get some sleep. You need some rest.
And so do you, sir.
I'll get there. I'm gonna do a couple more little tasks before I go to bed. And
okay.
All right. Great seeing you, kiddo. You look
You
good.
as well.
I'm so proud of you. I'm so proud of you. Keep up the great work. All right.
Thank you. And thank you for having me on these calls and sharing your story with us as well, George.
You bet. Awesome. All right. I'll let you go.
All right.
Thank you.
See you next time.
All right. See you next time.